Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Let's go ahead and jump into this. So, as we can see here on the monthly, happy Father's Day, everybody that is a father and had a good weekend. Also, just BT dub. Um, but as we can see on the monthly, right, we're about 2 weeks into the month. It's about to start the third week of the month, and we have this continuation to the upside. So we're still breaking out of this longer term balance, still breaking out to the upside. So relatively unchanged on the monthly time basis. Switching over to the weekly, the numbers start to get a little bit skewed just because um, because of the contract change. So we can kind of see a little bit of a gap here on the weekly. It's difficult to tell like if it's actually there, if it's not there, but we'll just kind of continue to take the basis of that the market is one time framing higher on the weekly basis and on the monthly basis. Morning, Zoe. Morning, Roach. And so, what we can deduct from that is that there's really hasn't been much change. Of course, we are at the start of a new week right now. And so from there, we can kind of use the previous week's low as a point that we can assume that some change has entered the market. And that level and a level that we definitely need to be watching this week is going to be the low from last week, and that's that 43.51 quarter. Um, it happens to be right at the low of a distribution as well, and we'll pull over. I'll pull over this weekly chart so we can kind of see that chart detach. So if we just look at the weekly profile chart here, we've got a longer term volume profile on the right side. We've got a little delta profile here as well. We can see this upper distribution and that previous low. This is last week's profile, that previous low. You can see kind of that low of that distribution as well. It gets a little bit choppy inside here, right? But you can see where the volume kind of shuts off right here, right at the low of this distribution. So we can kind of expect some buying should we break down to that level. We have some intra-week distributions here. Typically, I don't like to make my distributions less than 10 points, and this is kind of like here. So it'd be tough, right? You could really just kind of do one of those or do one of these, right? It's just kind of a difficult task to kind of decide where that distribution is at. I'm just looking at it more of a low volume area, right? If we take our lowest volume node and draw it up, right, these are not even close. So really this is just a low volume area, so don't really count it as a distribution. We're looking for this as a higher ledge and this one as a higher ledge. And that's kind of the two distributions that we're in between right now on a weekly basis, right? And so you've got this bigger distribution sitting down around that 44.15 or so. If we look at the crosshair, right, you can see it's like 16. Kind of starts up here at the 21. Volume starts to fade off around the 7. So anywhere kind of around that area, and then this upper distribution starting around that 44.67, and volume starts to fall off around that 44.80. So those are going to be kind of key levels that we definitely want to be watching heading into this week. And reattach this. Switching over here to the daily chart, and we kind of see we had that holiday day yesterday. But we are one time, excuse me, we are one time framing higher for 3 days in a row. Right, it's going to be close today. We probably get a cessation of one time framing. It's looking close that we're going to be opening up on a gap lower, but we'll kind of see how that plays out. No real change here, right? We're still continuing to break up. We're still riding this steeper trend here. So that's going to be something that we definitely want to be paying attention to. And there probably is, if you like the trends, there's probably another trend line in here somewhere. But really, we're just paying attention to this steeper trend line. Should we break this steeper trend line, right, that target's going to be this high of balance, which is around that 4250 area. That's kind of where I would expect if we do end up breaking the trend, where that pullback would be to back to the high of balance. We can expect some buyers to be there covering their old shorts. The next thing that we want to do before we jump onto the profiles is take a peek at the COT report. Pop it up over here. And so we can see a big change this week, right? So we get asset managers buying big, and this is as of last Tuesday, right? 6/13, and cutting their short. So they had cut the whole part of their short and basically added it to the long. And then you see leveraged funds really kind of not knowing what they're doing. Big add here to the spread as well. Just real quick. It's only yeah, so you see a big add to the spread here as well from both. Um, a key thing to note here, this is the longest that the asset managers have been in quite some time. Even if we go back, so this is the longest they've been since about November 2021, right? And then we kind of started to roll over that January. So it's just something to note, right? If they are going to take profit, this is an area where we know they have started taking profit before. Doesn't necessarily mean that they can't keep buying and the market can't keep going up. And for now, they are buying. So definitely something that we just want to be aware of. All right, take a peek at the NASDAQ real quick while we're here, just because the NASDAQ has been such a big player. And you can see the NASDAQ cut their long and their short and then went to a spread. So you can see asset managers still 80% long, but not as confident and didn't continue to add to that long position. Still as long as they've been for, I mean, basically since like 2016 on the NASDAQ. So still still we haven't seen that basic change in smart money or large money switching over to the short. Excuse me. So that's just something that we want to be aware of, right? Of course, because it seemed like over the weekend a bearish tone had been coming into the market. Seems that most people are creatures of habit or short term, like goldfish. We did short all day on Friday, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're just, we've kind of switched and we're just going to keep going lower. We definitely want to be maintaining perspective as the session trades on. Now, switching over here to the profiles, we'll do a little bit of review from Friday. We can go ahead and erase these single prints here. So Friday, right, we initially got that move higher, a little pop, and then drop. The rest of the day seemed like a B-shaped profile. And then we finally got the break that we were waiting for later in the day. We were targeting that 58. We ended up trading down to 51. So it was a pretty good day for us Friday. And a double distribution had formed as the market kind of ended here. And so we had the, go ahead and put this evening session back on. We had the holiday overnight session kind of continue to trade lower. Yesterday's cash session, right, holiday doesn't really count, but it did trade lower. And then today's session also trading low. Let's see, where's that settle from Friday? Settlement from Friday was 53.75. Oh no, that might have been 75. There we go. Okay, so with the settle being that 53.75, and then we had kind of ended the market on a spike lower, right? As you can see, that M period kind of pierced the low and looking to trade lower. You can see the longer distributions here, right? And we're trading basically right in the middle of those two distributions. So we're kind of spiking lower to see if we can find acceptance in those prices. We've got overnight inventory 100% net short, and we're currently trading in some single prints that we have that were untraded throughout the catch session. Another, excuse me, allergies are killing me. Another key thing that we want to be paying attention to today. Morning, dope. I don't know why your thing on mine says D dot 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 now. I don't. Anyways, um, so it's looking like we're going to be opening up on a gap lower, right? You could say we're opening up in yesterday's session. I'm not really counting it. Like I said, I'm just paying attention for Friday's session. So it looks like we're going to be opening up in a gap lower. We're also going to be opening up with a spike to the downside. So we want to go in the direction of the spike unless the market retakes that spike and closes the gap, right? Go with any gap that doesn't fill. So what are we thinking here? If we open up, right, and don't get this overnight inventory correction, we're trading right at the POC right now. So let's say we get below this POC, start to trade down. We did hit that poor low from the overnight. So that's going to be the first target, which is around that 44.30 area, right around that. So to fix that overnight low. And then we start to get into the excess, which is trading from about 28 to about 07 quarter, right? And that's this big distribution. And so that's really where the first spot to be looking for a long would be down here, the low end of this distribution. You kind of expect some buyers, also maybe some buyers down here from like 96 to 92. Those are the two opportunities. Like if we get a continuation to the downside, I don't necessarily think that we want to just give up, say, oh, this thing's going to zero. Depending upon the tempo and the internals, right? It'll depend if we get that opportunity to get long later in the day. Should the market trade a little bit lower, that is about another 30 handles, 40 handles lower on the lower spot. It's like 96 to 92. From that like 20 to 15, 20 to 16 area. Should we get that bounce right here, that target will be back towards the settle around this 50, 45, 53 area, and be looking for acceptance in this upper distribution above this low volume note. If we don't get that move down and we start to see this poor low hold and a rejection of these lower prices, we would be looking for the market to reclaim that settle, that 53.75, and get back acceptance inside this distribution from Friday. Acceptance in that distribution should trade us back up to that like 65, which is the weak spot where we have that mechanical M high. We can kind of assume, and we could even mark that level. We can kind of assume that there's some trapped longs still in the market from up there, and we can expect them maybe to start covering. So we want to be selling into strength. So let's say we get long, we get up close to this 66.50. We want to be selling into that. Some opportunity to kind of fade the low of this distribution right here. We get some selling. Look to see if we can get back accepted below the settle, back accepted below this. And there could be a nice setup all the way back down to this lower distribution if we reject that upper distribution. So that's kind of the two plays that I'm looking for. Well, I guess a couple. So first thing we're going to be looking for is that continuation down to that 44.20, let's call it. So that'll be play number one. Play number two would be acceptance above this 53 and then a test of the 66. That would be play number two. And then three is going to play off of that. There's going to be a rejection of that level. And then you also have some opportunities here to get long. That's like 3.1, 3.2 down here, long off that 40. And those are kind of like the five, I guess, setups that I'm kind of thinking. If we don't get this rejection here, you could do 3.4 up there, I guess, or 3.3 up there. But those are all, everything point is going to be depending upon what happens, yeah, throughout the day. And it's all going to be situational dependent. So it's really hard. So it's really hard to decide, you know, okay, if we get up here, I'm going to short. It's got to depend on the day. It might be a great spot to short, but it might, if there is no sellers in the market, let's say, and the momentum's up, the tempo's up, everything's looking to the upside, well, then maybe the best time to get short will be during Globex or maybe tomorrow, something like that. A better opportunity um, can arise. Morning, Tobias. But other than that, that's pretty much it, right? We have gap rules and spike rules. If you don't have those rules, go ahead and head over to Jim Dalton's website or Peter Resnick's website. They have them. Um, if you look in the glossary in the Discord, which should be under resources, somewhere, I'm not, but I mean, or if you look at any of you go to the market structure trade plan and look at any of the previously posted trade views. They're all in there as well. We haven't done them in a while, but we'll start doing them again now that it's summertime. I'll actually have the time, so I'll start doing them before the market. Um, it is going to be, that being said, it is summertime, so we can kind of expect the market to move a little bit slower. So we don't want to be getting too over anxious or expecting too much out of the market. Um, I don't really expect the market moving too crazily, but hey, you never know. Only news that I see really on the docket today is we've got Fed member Williams speaking at 11:45 or 11:45 a.m. Eastern time. So that's pretty much the only thing that I'm tracking. I know we've got Powell on a couple times this week, Morning Liquor, testifying between the Senate and the House. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, got about 6 minutes. Now's the time to finalize your plans. Get ready to manage some risk. Ready to have another successful week.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, Dan. See the market already trying to trade a little bit lower here to start the session. Peek at some crypto quick too. Well, we got a little bit of time. If we take a look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin did bounce out of our level at 25,250. A lot of people over the weekend, especially on Twitter, I was seeing they're like, "Oh, Bitcoin's going to zero." Um, you know, just all this like bearish talk kind of coming in. It's kind of reclaiming this 26 level. If we start to see it hold this distribution, right, it's basically just one large distribution here, about like 25 to 28. So we start to see it hold this 26, 8, 27 level. There's decent odds that we start to get these tests up to like 27.5 and 27.7, up to these levels to start testing higher and start testing some of these virgin points of control that the market hasn't been back up to yet. Should it not be able to test those, then we do start looking back down towards that 26,000 level, where we have a balance, right? Check below balance, re-enter balance again, and you've got this really large balance that it's kind of sitting in now, and basically trading off of that point of control. So this is basically acceptance or rejection time. If it accepts, we should test the high balance, which is that 27.7 level. If it rejects, then we should test that 26 level. That's kind of what I'm looking for when it comes to Bitcoin. Closed at Friday's low. Yeah, that's where will consider the gap closed at. Yeah. Um, they need to break the overnight low. Yeah, you're right. Um, I think longs start capitulating, probably around this 24. They can really drive the market past that 24, 28, maybe 28 level, really below the low of this distribution here. If we don't see buyers kind of show up, and that's basically right below the Globex low. So around that 28, 26 level, we should see long start to liquidate, and that should take us back down into this lower distribution here. Starting to see some selling already coming in the market early though. There's the open. Seeing the offer coming pretty heavy here. Think some shorts got stuck on that low there. A lot of selling came in, kind of bounced the market up. Re-offer here on this 33.
First spot is inputs.
Yeah, I gotta take a phone call real quick. Sorry, guys. All right, sorry about that. Comcast is coming out this morning to rewire all my stuff. Hopefully get fiber in here. All right, so we can see we broke the open, right? Trap some shorts early, trap some more shorts. You get some short covering. Remember, overnight inventory is 100% net short. So these overnight shorts are weak-handed, and typically that would cause them to be a little bit more. Uh, what would the word be? More responsive, I guess, or more scared to cover easier. Yeah, the Nasdaq's above its high already. Nasdaq does look strong. That's what I was saying. Like a lot of people, like they just kind of forgot about, that the market has been strong lately, and they're like, I'm gonna short this market because Friday was a down day, and they're like creatures of short term, like goldfish. Only remember what just happened, and that's it. You can see the sectors are real strong. Look at tech. Tech is real strong. Apple's on a tear to the upside. Microsoft is trying to come back here a little bit. We kind of had an opening test drive type of look, right? We opened up, we drove past the low, immediately reversed and started trading higher. So the key here, when we see this, is if there is a pullback, um, look at these high areas where bidders stepped in, and do they rebid those areas? So you see buyers jump in at these areas at the DOM. You're seeing some buyers kind of step up here, still strong, and the market's kind of continuing to the upside. Got long at the low, nice. Yeah, I took a long at 33.75, but I closed it at 39.75. I don't have anything on now. We've got some stuck longs at the high and a reoffer at the high here. So a little bit below that point of control and below the T1 low, below that globe or holiday low. We'll watch to see, like, so as we come down to like 38.50 or even here's 39.50, you're seeing a rebid and the market steps up. That's telling you that there's some buyers in the market there. Seven points left to runner. Nice. Nice fucking allergies are killing
Second
me
bot
too.
might be getting into a call.
I'm thinking about getting some long dated Nvidia puts. I think that we might have a push down in the semiconductors in the near term future. I think they're a little bit overdone, but I'm still holding off on that for now.
Second bot got on a call. So we are mixed today.
Not quite back at that Globex point of control yet, but we're getting closer now. Short's trying to move down to offer here. Their target is going to be this 38 area, 39 area. That's where they need to get back down. That's where there's some stuck shorts below that level where they would need to get back down. Just gain any ground. See, they get bid up there. Look for a reoffer on this 41.5. If no reoffer, then keep going higher. They're trying to reoffer that level. Kind of weak volume though. The reoffer ends up holding out. Yeah, big offer came on Bookmap, you said? Yeah, you can see offers stacking here, which kind of to me means that like we're probably gonna end up trading higher. Typically that's what happens is like all this liquid has to go get the liquidity really before it decides to do. I'm stuck longs right there on the 41, it looks like. Here's that spot 38. So this is the spot where buyers need to step up or else this thing's going to liquidate. This is where all the shorts got trapped, was right under here. So let's see if there's any more shorts that need to cover. $36, Roach? Yeah, where that 560's at. X still looking strong. The Dow looking super weak. Apple on a bid. Microsoft on a bid. Nvidia on a bid as well. The healthcare kind of turning lower here. Financials definitely taking a big dip here. A little bit of a liquidation. There's that 35, 36. Let's see if they start to cover. Can they break the open? There's the break of the open. So now we got the indecision, the gap that did not fill. Stuck long or stuck shorts there on that 35 quarter back above the open. I wonder why it doesn't show this little bid there. Just getting some offers trying to move down and be a little bit cautious here. You can see the one on that 39 right there. 400 lots almost. Between the two of them, a couple hundred. Morning, Rob. Morning, Live for Love. I'm doing well, yeah, thank you. What am I using for the balance numbers? What do you mean? Like for this lower balance? Really, I'm just kind of using that point of control. So like that 28 is kind of like the combine these 2 days. Oops. This 2 day balance here, kind of have this level here, this 28, this upper distribution, and the low of it, I'm kind of looking at like that 4404. Are you talking about the bigger distribution? I didn't disappear. I was always streaming. We just didn't do it on YouTube. We just did it in the Discord instead. Offer trying to come back in here. Oh, the bigger balance. The bigger balance high I have at like 42.97. That long term balance is what you're talking about. I really like that 43.57 level as well. All right, TJ, catch you later, man. Have a good one. Market taking care of some old business before it starts to do new business here. as you can see, just kind of chopping back and forth to start the session. We did cross the open briefly. I think that ticked down to the low, and then you're seeing this reoffer around this 39 level coming pretty significantly. Nice, man. Well, glad to have you back. Yeah, glad to see you back at it. Hopefully everything is going well with you.
Nasdaq's trying to break the high again.
Yeah, Nasdaq's just fucking piercing up here.
And ES ain't moving. Not yet, anyway.
The Dow trying to decide if it's gonna roll over or if it's gonna hold. Nasdaq keeps hitting the high though here. Pretty ugly start to the session though. Here we go back up to the high after checking below the open. Had some sellers up like 46, 48 area. It's probably the target. I'm not really bullish on the market. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to you as well. I don't really get like bullish on the market until we get above that 53.75 and start to hold. I mean, I still think there's opportunity to fade up there. There's opportunity obviously on both sides of the market as always, but as far as like the bigger picture goes, that's kind of a weak look up there. We're seeing the weighted AD here just barely negative. It's like really, what's this thing like? Yeah, you're getting the weighted AD just barely negative. Nasdaq's pulling back here a little bit. Nasdaq starts to roll and the Dow starts to roll, then this thing could really roll over here. And you see that reoffer on that 40.75 held pretty decent. Got a second chance. Buyers did up there to kind of buy over that 41 and didn't take advantage. So they get a third chance, which it's looking like right here. They need to take advantage. If not, they may have to search back down lower and get some more inventory, which would be down below that 35 again. Comcast guy's supposed to come today between 10 and 12. Like, get the imagine if you had a job where you could just like, hey, I'll be there between 10 and 12. Give me 2 hours. I'll be there at some point. You like forget about it. No, I don't have an issue with Sierra. No, my issue is my internet. I thought it was Sierra, but what's happening is, and it happened this weekend. Actually, what finally set me over the edge is I was watching my show on Hulu and then stopped working. I was like, fuck no. Like, it's Father's Day. I want to watch my fucking show. I can't watch my show. I'm pissed. And so I like reset the router, fucking unplugged the modem, just did everything that you can to try to get it to back to working, and it still wasn't working. So called them. They ran like some diagnostic, and then the internet came back on, so it's working for now. But it's been happening. It was happening all last week, where it would just like kind of go out for a second and then come back on, and then go out and come back on. They're like, it's working now, so we don't need to send anybody out. I'm like, nah, I need to send some. I'm not gonna keep paying for this if it's just gonna be shitty. Yeah, so hopefully this guy brings a new modem with him and can just switch mine out, and that's the problem. These Comcast modems are shit. I think they're designed to be shit. Purpose. If you had to ask me, that is what I guess.
What's the brand of that modem?
The Comcast modem, the Xfinity one. It's like some white tower looking one. I don't even know if it's a modem. I think it's a router. I don't think it's a modem. I don't know the difference, to be honest with you. So
Does the cable connection plug into it? Are you running cable internet or fiber?
cable. We don't have fiber.
So if it has the cable connection going into it, it's a modem. I mean, it
Okay.
could be a modem / router, but
Okay, yeah, it's probably both then, because it has the Ethernet plug into it as well.
yeah, it would have both of them.
Yeah, I know. I need to get my own. I just haven't. Should though. Maybe that's all I'll do. I'll have my uncle send me a good one and then get that thing set up.
That one I posted in text to link your dad. That's a good firewall you want to get.
Hey, send it again if you can, because I don't have it.
I'll find it. I'll send it.
Maybe I'll head over to Best Buy today and grab one.
You're gonna have to buy this one online. They don't sell it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, if you want to get your own, then it's a different story. But this one is, you'd have to buy it online.
This thing will work with my Comcast or whatever.
It'll work with all of them. It'll work with everything.
Sort of. The
I
Gold
mean, I might
Plus
have
one.
to. Yeah. Well, I just do the gold. I don't do the gold plus. You can do the gold plus. It's all up to you. I mean, long term, I guess maybe you might have an internet connection that big, but gigabit is all I need for my house. So I don't have anything more than that.
So back down here to where all this liquidity is at. See if we get this continuation again back past the Globex low. Gold's down 1% today. Nasdaq rolled over big time, but still not below its open. Microsoft came down quite a bit though. Did we make a new low? No. We trade 32. Buyers need this thing back above the open. That's where they got liquidated from, that quarter, 35 quarter again. That's gonna be a pretty decent level actually. So let's go ahead. Down 35, 44, 34, 35. See, tech's about to go red here too. Offer coming in pretty strong here, 34, but getting upticked. Healthcare is starting to catch a bid here. So you're seeing a little bit of transferring here, is what this is looking like. Little switcherooski. We're switching out of tech, switching into healthcare. Financials trying to catch a bid as well. To close this short. See if we can make a new low. If we don't make a new low right here, we want to just flatten out. You know what? Even if we get back above 33.5, probably flatten out. I've got one lot left. My stop's at 32.75. So I won't let it get back above there. They're going to sell this thing. They should start to keep offering it lower here. Try to keep it below the Globex low. Big bid shows up. Bunch of short covering there. I'm flat. Might trade back up to that 35 quarter again, the open. Offer comes back in pretty decent there, but not really getting any down ticks here. Oh, good call, doped. I just saw that. My bad. Yeah, good call. Sorry, I was staring at the Dom. So it just comes out, takes me out, and then keeps going. Decent reoffer there. But they just can't get any down tick. Like, they get a couple down ticks, and then boom, it gets bid up here. I'm still on the sidelines. Nasdaq still trading lower. The Dow still trading lower as well. bid trying to step up here. If they're able to bid this thing over the 31, they're going to try to test that open again. This bid gets stuck though, we should see the lower spot here because you'd be like shorting the low basically. Looking, I'm not able to get halfway to close the gap. I don't think that will go up for the time. Yeah, I mean, they're just struggling really to hold this thing below the Globex low. And so that makes me think that we're having some responsive buyers and we're kind of seeing some momentum shorts that were shorting this Globex low get stuck. That's why I think they might take this thing back up to the open here. Hey, everyone that's watching on YouTube, I appreciate it. Everyone liking the video. That's really cool. You know, glad to see everybody coming out. Hopefully everyone gets something from our little chats that we have. And remember, if you have any questions, just type them in, right? There's no such thing as a stupid question. I'm all about answering questions. So I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, that's a dumbass question. You're a fucking idiot. Read a book. Unless you ask the same question like over and over, and then I might be like, yo, the answer's in this book. You just gotta find. So a little taparooski of the open there, right? We were kind of expecting that. Now let's see if this reoffer comes in and just push this down. Seeing a pretty decent bid. The shorts that are stuck below there. We've got some shorts stuck from like 31 to 29. They're basically covering on every downtick there. Might be able to try this like 36 half, 37 level, see if they try to come in there, sell this thing back down below the target. The breath on the NYSE's 3.6. Nasdaq's coming back down below. It's open now. The Dow's making a new low. ES making a new. Some bids starting to show up down by 25. Into that weak spot. All right, I'll be right back, guys.